Hi guys, it's Mrs. Glenn. Welcome to the Algebra 4.07 assignment video. Let's get started. All right, first question is, Lexi is keeping track of the total number of hours she practices for cheerleading. She starts the summer having already put in 18 hours, and she then practices 6 hours each week. The function to keep track of her practice time is f of x equals 6x plus 18. And what does the f of x and x represent? So we have f of x is going to be your total, because remember the f of x is the y value, and the y value is always the answer. So the answer in this situation is going to be the total number of hours that she spends practicing. So make sure you look for the answer that says total number for the f of x part. And then the second part is the x value. And if you look back up in the problem where it says 6 hours each week, so x is going to represent the number of weeks that she practices. So it's not going to be the number of hours per day, it's the number of weeks, or the number of months, or the number of days, or whatever your problem has. So those are what f of x and x represent for number 1. Go ahead and do your number 1 right now. Pause the video so that you can do it one by one. And when you get done with the video, you'll be done with your assignment and you can hit submit. So you're going to be doing your assignment simultaneously as you're watching the video, and just pause after each question. All right, number 2. Mike is studying a type of bacteria that spreads at a fast rate. He created the function f of x equals 237 times quantity 1.80 to the x power to model the number of bacteria each week. What does the value of the function represent? That's the first question. And then the second question is, how much bacterium is in the petri dishes after 4 weeks? And we have to round that answer to the nearest whole number. So we have f of x equals 237 times quantity 1.80 to the x power. So that 237 is the number that's in front, which tells me that that's the number that they started with, the number of bacteria they had when they first started the study. And then our 1.80 is going to represent that it's a growth, and bacteria does grow. That makes sense. And it's growing at a rate of 80%, and that's because, remember, we had a formula when we are doing this from the previous assignment. It was capital P times 1 plus R. So if we had this problem, we would have 237 here, and then we'd have 1 plus what number, which is the rate at which it's growing, right? What number is going to equal that 1.80 that's in the function? And that would have to be the 0.80. So 0.80 as a decimal, you just move it 2 places to the right and you get 80%. So if it was 1.75, well, that would be 75%. If it was 1.42, that would be 42%, and so on. Let me get rid of all that extra mumbo jumbo before I keep going. Go backwards, backwards, backwards in time. Go backwards, backwards, backwards in time. That was a song by Mrs. Glenn. Okay, here we go. And then x is always going to be time. So x is going to be the number of weeks, and that's because the problem says that they're checking it every week. So then we have to do the second part of the question, which is plugging in that 4. So order of operations tells us we have to do the exponent before we multiply. So 1.80 to the 4th power. And then keep that on your calculator and times it by 237. And then it also tells us that we now have to round it to the nearest whole number. So if you're taking a look at that 0.93 right there, that 0.93 is greater than 5, which means we add 1 more to the 7, making it 2,488 bacteria, approximately. All right, one second. Now you're going to go on to your number 2 problem and pause this video and complete number 2, just like I did this problem right here. So take a look at what we did here and do the same thing for your problem with the numbers that are on your question. So hit pause before we go on to the next problem. All right, so now you're done with number 2. Let's go on to number 3. So your number 3 will not have these 2 tables, and that is because you are supposed to be making these 2 tables on your own piece of paper. So if you don't have a piece of paper, go get one now and create 2 tables with the this many rows and columns. And you're going to put at the top of your two tables x column and then the exponent function in the f of x column to the right. And then for the right-hand table, you're going to have a linear function, which is the g of x. And your f of x and g of x might be different letters. That's okay. Just make sure you know which one is the exponential function and which one is the linear function. So remember, the exponential function is the one with the exponent. All right, so the problem says the balance in two separate bank accounts grow each month at different rates. The growth rates for both accounts are represented by the functions f of x equals 3 to the x power and g of x equals 5x plus 15. In what month is the f of x, so in what month is the exponential one, greater than the g of x side? So first thing we have to do is actually calculate what the answers are for each x value. So you're plugging in 3 to the first power and getting 3. 3 squared is 9, 3 to the third power is 27, 3 to the fourth power is 81, and 3 to the fifth power is 243. So now that you have those answers done, we're going to go to the linear function side and do the same thing, plugging 1 through 5 in. So when you plug that in, you get 5 times 1, which is 5, and 5 plus 15 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10, and 10 plus 15 is 25. 5 times 3 is 15, and 15 plus 15 is 30. And you can see that the pattern is just increasing by 5 every time. So the next one should be 35, right? 5 times 4 is 20, and 20 plus 15 is 35. And 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 plus 15 is 40. So now what you're going to do is you're going to look at the two answers that we have here. So we're going to compare 3 and 20. And 20 is greater, so we're going to circle the number that wins. So we're going to compare the next one. We have 9 and 25. 25 wins. Then the next one's 27 and 30. 30 wins. And then the next one is 81 and 35. And that would be 81 that wins. So do you see how in the beginning we had the right-hand side won 3 times in a row? And now the left-hand side, all of a sudden, when we get x equals 4, is the winner? That is what you're looking for. So you're looking for where it makes the switch from one table to the other. So it makes the switch at x equals 4, which means it's the fourth month when f of x is more than g of x. So you're just looking for that switch when it makes the first switch. So finish your tables and then go through and circle the answers and see which one wins. And when it stops the pattern and skips to the other side, it's that side that is the x value that wins. All right, pause the video so that you can do your next question. All right, so now that you're done with number 3, we'll go on to number 4. Jaden plans to put $175 into a savings account. He can place this money into an account represented by a of x equals 6x plus 175, or he has the choice of putting it into another account, which is represented by t of x equals 175 times quantity 1.05 to the x power. Which account has the highest value in 3 years, and which account has the highest value in 11 years? So let's do year 3 first. So looking at the linear function side, the a of x, we plug 3 in, and we get 6 times 3 is 18. 18 plus 175 is 193. Then we're going to do year 3 for d of x, which is the exponential function. Do the exponent first, 1.05 to the third power, times it by 175, and you get 202.58. So far, this side is the winner, right? And then for year 11, it says, plugging in 11, so 6 times 11 is 66, and 66 plus 175 is 241. And for d of x, we have 1.05 to the 11th power, then times that answer by 175, and you get 299.31. So again, d of x wins again. So therefore, d of x is higher for both years. So you're going to do the same thing and find out which side is higher for year 3 and which side is higher for year 11. And if it's both the same one, then that's what you pick. If it's different, then you have to pick the one that has the correct answer. Go ahead and pause the video and finish your number 4. All right, last problem. So which of the following exponential functions goes through the points 1, 12 and 2, 36? So if we were to actually graph these functions A, B, C, D, they're asking us on the graph, which one will actually be at 1 comma 12, and you can make it a point. So like if you did 1 comma 12, it would be here, and 2 comma 36 we'll say is up there. We want to know the line, which one is actually having a line that's going through it like that. So we have to actually plug in those x values. So we're plugging in 1, just like we did on the previous one for the table, and getting in the answers, and then we're going to plug in 2 and get those answers. And if they give us 12 and 36 from the same answer choice, then that's the function we use. So when we plug 1 in for the A, multiple choice A, it would be 3 to the first power, which is 3, and 4 times 3 is 12. So that works for this one because 1 comma 12 is the point. So 1 and 12 make the point 1 comma 12. And then we're going to plug in 2 this time for checking the other point that it needs to cut through. 3 squared is 9, and 9 times 4 is 36. And 2 comma 36 is this one right here. So that matches as well. So it has to be choice A. So after you finish these 5 questions, you are done for 4.07. So if you are sure that you are completed it and you've answered every question to the best of your ability, you can go ahead and click submit, and you will be all done with 4.07. So good luck.